It's a football show. Manchester United have announced plans to build a new 100,000-seater stadium next to Old Trafford, their home since 1910. The stadium, referred to as New Trafford, will become the biggest in the UK and will form the centrepiece of a local regeneration project. The squad is training now ahead of tomorrow's huge Europa League last 16 second leg tie. And we can speak to our reporter, Ben Ransom. There he is. Very good morning to you, Ben. What's the team news ahead of tomorrow?
Yeah, exciting news in a sense in that Mason Mount and Manuel Ugarte back here with Manchester United at the start of this session ahead of what is a huge game for them in the Europa League in the context of their season. Let me just step out of the way because hopefully we should be able to find both of those two players. In fact, yeah, look, there's Mason Mount right in front of us. Remember, this is a player that started just 4 Premier League games this season, last seen on the pitch in that derby against Manchester City all the way back in December. So that really is a boost for Ruben Amorim to have him back and potentially available. Obviously, we'll get a sense from Ruben later on when he does his press conference as to how fit Mason is. But as you can see here, he's taking part in these early rondos. And it was a welcome back for both him and Manuel Ugarte from the rest of the Manchester United players. They tunnel and made them run through, give them all a round of applause. Diogo Dalot leading that, so certainly it's been something that has been welcomed positively by the group. And when you think of those central midfield options, that is a boost because Manuel Ugarte missed that first leg, the 1-1 draw in Spain against Sociedad. The ball's come out here. I'm going to brave a kick on Sky Sports News back to the Manchester United players. There we go. Just about pulled it off. In terms of other team news, I think the other players we were looking for were Harry Maguire and Leny Yoro, and neither of those from what I can see are here with the group. So it looks like Maguire and Yoro are missing out, are they? Yeah, I think so. So the good news is Mount and Ugarte back. No Maguire, no Yoro. Obviously, no sign of long-term absentees. Luke Shaw, Kobbie Mainoo and Amad Diallo, although they are hoping they may well get them back before the end of the season.
I've just got to say, what a pass that was. That was spectacular. Let's get on to the game itself. Just how big is this tomorrow night for Ruben Amorim?
Beautifully weighted. Good to know that my touch hasn't quite deserted me. But for Ruben Amorim, more important matters certainly the Europa League, because when you look at the context of their season, it's huge, isn't it? I mean, this is their one opportunity to salvage something from what's been a really difficult campaign, first under Erik ten Hag, then Ruben Amorim. A huge game according to the ownership, who we've heard so much from this week, Omar Barada, and of course Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. And winning in the Europa League, I know that seems like a long way off, but winning this competition would of course allow them to get into the Champions League via the back door. But when you consider all of the things that we've been speaking about in the last 24 hours in terms of the club off the pitch, in terms of revenues, and in terms of these ambitious plans to build that huge stadium, any extra revenue they can generate, and of course being in European football's top club competition, is crucial really for the growth. So it's a huge game. It's delicately poised. Obviously United, I feel, will be relatively happy coming back to Old Trafford with the game being level at 1-1 from the first leg. And you have to say that if they can get through this tie, a difficult potential opponent against Lyon in the next round, and it's going to be a difficult route through to the final, but it is their focus. 14th in the Premier League, that's something that's been a disappointing domestic season. They can still salvage something, as I say, and I'm sure Ruben Amorim, when he speaks to us a bit later on, will be talking up the importance of this particular fixture.
OK, let's get a very quick word on that stadium announcement yesterday. So much to talk about it. What's the time frame like? How will the club pay for it, do you think?
Yes, I mean, it's hugely exciting, and of course it's got the Manchester United fan base torn a little bit, I think, over the plans. I think amongst the Manchester United fans that in this part of the world that I've spoken to, I've heard a couple that are really impressed by the iconic design, that really love it. I've also heard others join in with perhaps fans from other teams who have been slightly more sceptical on the plans put forward by Lord Norman Foster. But it is ambitious in the sense that it's planned to be the biggest stadium in the UK UK, 100,000 fans at the cost of something in the region of £2 billion. They are looking to build it in almost record time, because I think there's a buy-in from the government certainly to regenerate South Manchester as one of their key projects, which when you consider that Labour government have only just come to power, it's something that I think there's a feeling they'll want to get done in this term of office. So I think in that sense, I think there's a hope that certainly planning applications and that process can move fairly speedily. So 5 years is the timescale being put on it in terms of a time to build as part of this wider regeneration project. A large part of that's owing to its proximity to the Manchester Ship Canal. Anyone who knows the geography of Old Trafford, that's been one of the things that has obviously caused them problems in terms of regenerating Old Trafford. But on the site, it actually gives them an advantage in the sense that in theory they can build modules of the stadium without getting too technical, to pre-build them, prefabricate them, then bring them in on boats and then assemble them at what will be New Trafford. So it's certainly an ambitious project. But in terms of funding, that will be the big question. Certainly, the understanding is it's not going to be taxpayer or public money to pay for the stadium itself, even though, of course, that will go into some of the wider regeneration, which means that it'll be up to the club to raise that money. You wouldn't have thought they would have any issue borrowing more to do it, but of course, it's funding, it's more bank loans, it's more interest, which when you consider the leverage takeover which saw the Glazers buy the club 20 years ago, it is another perhaps element of concern for fans, and ultimately it will be the fans who have to pay back interest payments on those loans and fund that rolling debt, which currently stands, we understand, tied to the club at around £1 billion. So it's a huge outlay, but of course Sir Jim Ratcliffe making clear yesterday, Omar Barada making clear yesterday, this is, they believe, their path to a brighter financial future.